So here's what we're going to do. This whole scene begins with the watchtower weapon. Can you hear me? You all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The watchtower weapon has been fired. Nobody in the Justice League fired it. So the weapon has hit the earth, has hit Cadmus I believe we're in New Mexico. And Flash comes running into the room at line 1. Michael, you start us off.
What did we hit?
And John, you're next. Carl, do you have your script?
Cadmus headquarters.
That's it. Flash?
There's going to be some people who need our help down there. I'm taking a couple of rescue teams.
You know what? I want you to do one more of those, please, Michael. It's a little bit more urgent. Just a little bit more. There's going to be people in trouble. I'm going to help them.
Ooh, I like this direction. This is good.
Oh, direction. Okay. Oh
This is great.
So demanding.
There's going to be some. Are you ready? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Here we go.
There's going to be some people who need our help down there. I'm going to take a couple of rescue teams.
John? Can you hear?
But the teleporters are offline.
And the bay doors won't open without power. We'll think of something.
Good. Do one more, Michael. It's a little golly gee. It's just a little bit golly gee. Make it a little bit more urgent. A little bit more superhero.
I can barely hear.
Better acting, Michael.
You know that acting that you do? Could you do it better?
Yeah, hold on. And the bay
Here we go.
doors won't-
Here we go.
And the bay doors won't open without power. We'll think of something.
So much better. So much better. So Jean's attention is drawn to the chirping of a red phone, and Flash says,
Whoa. Is that who I think it? Let me do that again. Whoa.
Please do.
Is that who I think it is?
And Jean takes a deep breath, prepares himself, and says into the phone,
Mr. President.
and Flash ducks out, taking Supergirl's hands. We are now at the Eagle News Network. It's covering the accident. The reporter is live at the site. Maria, this is you.
Continuing coverage live from Covenant, New Mexico, where a huge explosion has caused tremors detected as far away as Japan.
Perfect.
Ooh, nice. Again.
There is still
going.
no official word on what occurred here. Eyewitness accounts vary widely.
There's devastation on the screen. She goes on.
Although many agree that in the instance before the explosion, they saw an energy beam strike from the sky.
Turn it off.
Superman says.
Turn it off.
Jean.
Our sensors are still out. This is the only information available.
And Superman toggles his comm link and speaks to the rest of the team.
Diana, John, Shaira, meet me in the main conference room. Now. You too, Jean. On the phone.
Very good. On the phone. We're in the Watchtower main conference room. Superman, Jean, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman are all at the main table. Shaira is visibly apart from the rest of the group. And Batman and Flash are absent. Superman says,
What have we done?
Jean.
We haven't done anything. An outside force took control of the binary fusion generator. Whoever's behind that is responsible for the destruction of Cadmus, not us.
Tell that to all those people in New Mexico. They're terrified of us. So's the government.
Well, we can't let technical difficulties stop us from doing our job.
Thank you, Wonder Woman.
How can you protect people who think you don't have their best interests at heart?
And then she notices that Shaira is about to say something. She lowers her eyes in shame, and Wonder Woman catches it and kind of apologizes.
I didn't mean that as a shot at you, Shaira.
Look, a lot of people don't like the Green Lantern Corps when we first come to a planet. We just take our lumps and do the work. Over time, folks come to see what we're about.
Want to try that again without the little stumble?
A lot of people don't like the Green Lantern Corps when we first come to a planet. We just take our lumps and do the work. Over time, folks come to see what we're about.
Much better. Thank you. Jean?
And yet, over time, the Justice League's reputation has eroded.
Maybe so. But when it comes down to it, we aren't here to be liked. We're here to make the world a safer place.
How are we doing so far today?
Come on, man.
Really cool. Hey, you guys, we have an interesting situation here. We can actually overlap because we are in separate places. So I would love to hear Green Lantern
Everybody
interrupts
all at
Superman a little bit there. So Superman, read him in again from line 24, and Lantern, jump on it a little
Okay.
bit sooner, okay? Here we go. Again, Superman, 24.
How are we doing so far today?
Come on, man.
That's better, thank you. Wonder Woman.
I don't see the two goals as mutually exclusive. We should make a gesture of cooperation.
That's not a bad idea.
We could dismantle the binary fusion generator, at least until our innocence has been proven.
I say we permanently dismantle it. The thing is obviously not secure.
And John says,
I agree. Considering what happened during the Thanagarian invasion, Batman was right to have it installed, but under the circumstances, keeping it is much too great a risk.
I've seen it on 100 worlds. Space-based weapons always destabilize planetary politics.
Okay, getting rid of that thing is a start, but it's not going to be enough. We have to start working to regain their trust.
Superman rises to his feet and says,
Then there's only one thing to do.
we cut to Batman in his Batmobile responding to what he just heard. Kevin, we're at 34.
You want me to what?
There's a voice for you. We see the interior of a Javelin. Jean is piloting Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Shaira are the passengers. Batman and Flash, still in New Mexico, are visible on the monitor. Wonder Woman says at 35.
Turn yourself over into U.S. custody along with the rest of us.
Flash.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Meet us at the coordinates I'm sending first. Yeah, go ahead. Meet us at the coordinates I'm sending first. We should all go over together.
This is the single dumbest plan I've ever heard. You agree with this, Kent?
It was my idea.
Long beat, and then
If you're feeling guilty, clear your own name. Don't stand on the sidelines waiting for somebody else to do it.
We've already voted. 5 in favor.
6.
You have to come with us, Bruce.
I don't have to do anything. I'm a part-timer, remember?
and he hangs up. Wonder Woman says,
Actually, he took it a lot better than I expected.
very good. We're in Belle Reve Prison. The Javelin lands. The Justice League exits. Soldiers raise their energy rifles and point them at the League. Phil, will you be my soldier at line 47, please? Superman says at 46.
As promised, we're surrendering ourselves to your authority.
Where's Batman?
Running late. The Batmobile lost the wheel. The Joker got away.
And then the soldier just looks blankly at you and you say,
That's what I heard.
very good. We're in Luthor's lab. Luthor is welding something. He lifts his visor. We see his smiling face as he says at line 50, Clancy.
Now you're perfect.
And we see it's an Amazo android, but this one has his face.
A perfect, super powerful, immortal body. A suitable place for me to spend the rest of eternity.
He begins flicking switches.
Ironic. Years of plotting, hundreds of millions spent on Cadmus R&D projects, and none of it bore fruit.
He connects the leads from one of his consoles to the Amazo android.
No, it's a lowly employee of LexCorp, Dr. Ivo, creator of Amazo, who we have to thank for my impending godhood.
And we hear from off screen,
That was the last piece I needed.
Batman is stalking forward. Luthor says,
Got it all figured out, have you?
When you and Adam worked together to try and stop the first Amazo, he showed you the blueprints, and I suspect you have a photographic memory.
Luthor proudly taps his temple.
I'm too modest to boast.
The real purpose of Cadmus was to give you superpowers.
And to ruin Superman's reputation. Imagine how sweet it will be when I save the world from the menace of the Justice League. Now, when I kill Superman, they'll build statues in my honor.
Maybe next time.
Nice. Throw a batarang for me, Kevin. Just a huh. Thank you. Batarang. Thank you. That's it. And the batarang explodes in your fist, Clancy, but it doesn't really hurt. It's kind of like a match.
Right.
And he says,
Ow.
that's right. And then he goes on with more dialogue.
That was uncalled for.
Very good. Some time goes by. The Justice League destroys the Brainiac ship. We find out that Brainiac was behind all of this. Batman says it's 63.
That was too easy.
Shaira.
Easy? I guess so, standing on the ground watching.
And from Superman's point of view, we scan the wreckage, and Superman says,
No, he's right. Brainiac isn't here. He suckered us.
we're at LexCorp. Flash returns from a super speed recon, zooming back to where the others have gathered. He says it's 66. Michael?
No sign of Brainiac.
Green Lantern, Superman fly in.
My ring can't trace him either.
If we can't find where he is, we have to predict where he's going.
Okay, he's weakened and damaged. He'll need to repair himself.
He may just dump Luthor and find himself a new body.
No, he'll head right for the highest technology available.
And John says,
Higher than LexCorp. Then you'll go to Starlab.
Sure. He's all nanotech now, right? What's the most advanced nanotech on the planet?
The Dark Art. We destroyed it, but your people confiscated the debris.
and Waller, who was voiced by CCH Pounder, says, we've never been able to get any of it to work again. And Batman, will you button this scene for us at 78?
Are you willing to bet Brainiac didn't?
Good, try it again, one more time.
Are you willing to bet Brainiac can't?
There we go, beautiful. And that's how we do that, my darling. Well done.
That was a really good rehearsal.
You know what? That was really fun. Like, just I know the
I thought Carl was really cool.
Going on,
His
sorry for the
effect on his
like,
voice was
hearing
amazing.
Clancy, I haven't heard Clancy in a while.
I know.
Oh.
And
was
Kevin,
dope.
your voice just
And
cut
even
through.
hearing John, hearing Carl through the phone sounded like
amazing.
That's
I
so
love
cool. That's so
I
cool.
love it.
Kind of fit.
It was meant to be. It was so good.
Excellent, excellent.
Super fun.
John, did you?
Outstanding.
Yep.
Carl, while we have you on the phone, can I ask you? I wanted to ask you in particular because it really was a groundbreaking show of its time. Can you tell us anything about your time being the Mantis on Fox?
Carl, could you hear that question?
No,
Okay. John, ask it again.
Sure.
I actually cannot
Sure.
hear anyone.
Okay.
Carl,
Yeah,
I was
okay,
wondering
John,
if
you
could
know what?
tell us
He
about
can't.
your time.
I've got him on speaker, but he's not
Yeah.
hearing you because I've got you on a headset. I will ask him the
Okay,
question.
well, yeah, if you could
I want to
telegraph
ask
it
you
for
about
me,
the
Andrea.
Mantis
You know,
character that you played
I just
many years before we did Justice League, yeah?
No, actually, Mantis. Well, was that Mantis was
After or before?
94,
94. Oh, yeah, way before.
93, 94. Yeah.
And John, what was your question?
just in terms of, I mean, it was. I know it didn't last long, but it really was a groundbreaking show. I mean, this is before Black Panther, and then one of the first television black
You're talking
heroes.
about how it was one of the groundbreaking shows so early on, even though it didn't last. What was it? One season? How many seasons did it have?
It was one season.
One season.
But the document was really the pilot.
The document was what?
Really the pilot. The pilot. It was a 2-hour pilot.
Oh, I see.
For Fox, and that was the real statement of Mantis. And we went on and we did a series, but the series lost some of the elements that made the pilot so special.
Ah, interesting.
Cool, Rosenbaum.
Yeah, really.
Thank you, Michael Rosenbaum. He's showing us the Justice League lineup there. Thank you for that, Michael, too. Thank you, Carl. Really nice.
It's not that great.
Go ahead, John. Ask us the question.
It's not that great.
Yeah, well, I was going to also ask Michael and Clancy. I look forward to this podcast because much as DC Comics is releasing 3 Jokers at the end of the month, 2 Luthors is going to be an interesting conversation.
Cool. You know, it's funny, we only worked once together, right? We did the Great Brain Robbery, Nancy and I, where we changed. So that was, and hearing Andrea directed, I wish somebody would have filmed that. That was incredible.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Like him delivering my lines and just trying to find out how it was very interesting.
Neat.
Yeah.
Neat.
Well, you were always
give me
so
one
busy.
second, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just going to check something. Carl, are you no longer connected at all through the site?
No.
I don't know. I haven't checked since I started talking.
Check it out, because then you can hear everybody speaking rather
Yeah,
than
and maybe tell Carl instead to connect with his iPhone as opposed to the iPad.
Now you connect
because
with
there
your
might be a better
iPhone.
connection.
Your iPhone might be a better connection. John is saying your iPhone might be a better connection.
All right. I'll
Okay.
go get it.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right, love. Okay. Cool. He's gone.
There we go.
All right.
Understood.
All right.
No, that was great.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. George, great turn on Scandal. Really enjoyed the
thank you.
there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That was a fun 7 years. Fun 7 years, I'll tell you.
That's great. Here, I'm going to go to some questions here from the audience and stuff. Let's. Leanne wants to know. We'll go around the horn. Who are your personal heroes? I'll cue everyone. Maria, a personal hero?
Oh, gosh. There's a lady, an older lady who passed away. She was a friend of mine. And boy, she was just the kind of person you'd go to her home to give her something and you'd come back with 5 things in your hand. And she'd cook for you and offer you help and anything. She was just one of the most generous, and she loved people. She wasn't suspicious of people. And she was a great example to me and a mother figure, being that kind of selfless, giving people the benefit of the doubt. I think I have a little too much suspicious tendency in me to distrust. And she always think of her about loving people. She was a great example. Rosalba was her name.
Nice.
That's beautiful. Rosie?
Wow, Rosie. Call me Rosie.
Well, I see it in the parentheses, so I figured it was.
Oh, yeah. You know, my grandfather was really my hero. He was, nobody's ever been more patient with me, maybe Andrea, but he had such amazing patience, was always willing to do things with, just a good man, good heart, loved me unconditionally. I felt that. He was just a great role model. And, he passed away in November, so it was tough, but he had a great life, and I'm grateful for that. So he was definitely my hero.
Nice.
That's awesome. How about it, Phil?
Actually, it's interesting because it's sort of been on my mind. John Lewis, the congressman who recently passed away, and I had the fortune of getting to meet him, weirdly, at San Diego Comic-Con.
Wow! Wow! Oh, I saw the video of that. Yeah,
he because they had done a comic book called March about his life and his battle, and it won an Eisner Award the year I was presenting, and so not only did I get to meet him, I got to introduce him to my son.
That's
wow.
That's
cool.
Wow. That's very cool.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
That's
really cool.
Fantastic. Susan?
We had a chance to think about this because on Michael's podcast, he asked us this question. And, I think, I can't think of one single person, but if I had to choose right now, I'd say people who get involved, who, talk the talk, but also when it comes down to it, they get really involved on the ground. People like Shannon Watts, who started a thing called Mom's Demand to help gun violence in this country and throughout the world. And she has just started this revolution and has created so much change in that world. So people like that, who I think we get to play superheroes, and it's wonderful and it's so much fun, and we get interviewed. But there are so many people who are down there who just don't get any publicity for what they do every day to try to make the world a better place. And Shannon's one of those people that jumps out at me.
That's awesome.
Outstanding. Absolutely. Clancy?
Present company accepted. Probably my dad. He's still hanging in there.
That's great, man.
Cool. That's wonderful.
Has a smile on his face.
That's beautiful.
Tells me what's going on Turner Classic movies whenever we talk.
Yeah.
I got them off Fox and on to Turner Classic movies.
Oh,
so
well done.
Well
done, sir.
Fantastic. Good timing, too, with Summer Under the Stars. That's great.
Yeah, right.
Carl, you're out of stasis. This is great.
Yeah,
So
guys,
we
we're going
can
to reread it now. We're going to reread the whole thing.
Carl, we're asking everybody who... Yeah, we're asking everybody for their personal heroes. That was a question from the audience. Who's your personal hero?
Well, right now I would say it's my father was always first, but James Baldwin right now, because that's who I think is a man for our time, and was a man for the time he lived in, and was almost prescient. and quite misunderstood, because what he was talking about was always about love, even though he was enlisted to talk about all sorts of other things. But at the root of it, it was always love, and that's what I think is most important. That's him.
Incredible documentary about him on Netflix.
Yeah.
Really, really amazing. Absolutely. Did I forget anyone who hasn't spoken up yet?
Andrea.
I didn't. My mother was a force of nature. And Maria too. That's right. No, Maria spoke, didn't she? Anyway,
Yes.
My mother was a force of nature. My mother had 8 kids, and then realized after 6 were born that there was no way that our household could survive with just one working parent, and so she ultimately became the highest executive in Suffolk County in New York State. Her next position, if she wanted to go any higher than that, would have had to be an elected official, and she did not want to be that deeply into politics. But she was awesome. I have seen Suffolk County police officers shrink at her, when she lets them have it. And it was the point. When she would point at them, which was all of us kids would go, "Oh, the poor officers. We know that point." But she was awesome. She passed away many years ago now, like 12 years ago, but she was crazy cool. She was really good. She was my hero.
That's amazing. A lot of people have been asking on the chat, and I'll ask for everybody. Susan, as was mentioned before by Andrea, not only did you spearhead this group, but you're leading the charge as far as a Justice League reunion, and it's something that I know that a lot of us fans really want to see. Any suggestions, all of you, in terms of who the people can contact and try to make this happen? We got a bit of one last year when you had the Justice League versus the Fatal Five, and several of you were part of that.
Yeah, that was a treat. Yeah, that was just Kevin and George and I, but that wasn't, it just gave us a taste of what we wanted more of. So, I can tell you not to tweet at Warner Brothers Entertainment, because we've been told that is not accepted and that they don't want the tweets. But people should just be outspoken about it, because I think that if the fans give voice to the desire, then eventually they'll make good on it. I hope, because I know the fans want it. The cast wants it. Andrea has said she would come out of retirement to direct it.
That's true.
Bruce Timm has said he would do it. But we just need the powers that be at Warner Brothers, whoever they may be, to greenlight it. We have a writer waiting in the wings, and truly we do. And everything's there, but the will from the studio.
The money. Everything but the money.
Warner Brothers.
And to be honest, having actors and writers is really sort of like having paint and rubber. And it's like, we've almost got a car built. No, you don't.
Right.
Really what it is. As somebody who's been on shows that came back from the dead back before that was a thing.
Right.
All the studios care about is money.
That's right.
By the way,
if the Justice League episodes are getting bought on iTunes, they're going to say, "Oh, geez, we left a pile of cash on the table. Quick, go get it."
So is that what happened, Phil, in terms of Futurama being able to come back?
Yes. People bought the DVDs after the show was already off the air, and they're like, "Wait, people still like this, and are not just like it, but are willing to spend money on it."
Mm-hmm. Well, and interestingly too, I don't know how many more months DC Universe as a specific streaming channel has, and I know that things like DC Direct and the Daily Show have gone away, but the Justice League series wasn't on DC Universe, so I think that is the only way that people can vote, is if they want to purchase it from iTunes or rent it from iTunes.
Blu-ray and
Blu-ray, sure.
Well, I came up with an idea, and Phil seemed to love it. We just have names like Crash and the Blue Lantern, and we just change the names around.
Yeah.
Get a great animator.
That's adorable.
There are enough public domain
Hey,
heroes out there. Yeah, there's enough ciphers out there that it's easy to kind of make the Black Terror George's character, and there's a lot of street vigilantes that Kevin could play, and even some speedsters that Mike could play. Yeah.
Well, by the way, if they decided later on after things were going well, successful, and they sued us, how would they look? We've been trying to do this forever, you jerk.
So
Come
Phil,
on, man.
so Phil, if you had a direct, people are
I can't
asking.
hear
So
anything.
what would your advice be in terms of what people should do to try
What
to
I
get
just said.
just buy the DVDs
Rent,
and the
rent the episode. Buy
Right.
the episodes.
Right.
Merch. Buy the merch.
Whatever puts money in their pocket, that gets their attention.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Good.
No, I
I
get
like
it.
the T-shirt, Phil. By the way, thank you for wearing the lineup
and
T-shirt.
and
Really good.
and also everybody support the Hero Initiative. Really a big reason why we're all here. Much like the fact that we can't enjoy live conventions in person, the Hero Initiative is really suffering because that's where they make a lot of their money. Like literally over 80% of their donations come from being at conventions and people literally putting money in the jar. They can't do that now, and that's one of the reasons why Mainframe exists. So if you would, it's heroinitiative.org, or if you're watching on the Mainframe Comic-Con page, there's a donate button right at the bottom there for Hero Initiative as well. So keep that in mind, if you would. So a little public service message there.
Thank you.
And also,
Nice.
I wanted to ask you guys another key member of the production team of Justice League, Dwayne McDuffie, who I had a chance to talk to a few times and really appreciated his company. And man, I'll tell you, not only in animation, but also in comics, really one of the best writers that really understood the characters and stuff. Any memories of Dwayne, anybody?
He was so talented. He was such a wonderful guy to work with. He was really generous. I so admired him. It was so shocking when he died.
So shocking. So shocking.
Huh?
Truly.
And
Truly.
So shocking.
He always struck me. He always struck me as somebody who just couldn't believe how fortunate he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be in the room and
He felt
writing
that.
this stuff.
Yeah.
He so
felt that.
enjoyed it so much. I mean, it
Yep.
just leapt off him, his enthusiasm for it.
I mean, he was
genre.
incredible. What was it? He had a PhD in
Physics,
physics,
I
is it? Something like that. I mean, he really genuinely
Yes,
was
I remember that,
a
actually.
smart guy. And but the joy he got from working in the animated field with Static
Yeah.
Shock first,
Yeah,
and then
just
which
amazing.
was so cool, and then with the Justice League. And every time I speak to fans about him, they all have nothing but kind words to say about his engagement with them. He was really understanding of actors. He understood the creative process an actor goes through. He was not, a lot of producers and writers, they don't understand it. But he engaged himself and wanted to know what you guys did to get the performances that you did.
Yeah.
And he was one of those guys too, that if you guys would change his words, because not intentionally, but just it rolled better off the tongue that way, he was absolutely fine with that. He was not precious with his words. They were
beautiful.
whatever works and makes it better for the whole project. So he was
But
good.
Clancy was right. It was
Hey guys,
Clancy
I
did it
gotta
well.
get going.
Yeah, I'm
I gotta
sorry,
take the dog
Kevin.
to the
Yeah.
vet, and then I have my charity online event that I'm hosting. But I love you guys all, and thanks for having me.
Michael,
Bye,
thank you
Michael.
so much for coming on.
Bye,
Absolutely.
Michael.
Welcome.
Michael.
All right, thanks.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
love.
Take care.
Glad I made it back.
See ya.
See you, Michael.
Take
All my
care.
love.
Carl, are you
Take care.
going too? Are you
Yes,
leaving
I
too,
am.
Carl? All right,
Okay.
my love. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
You
for
know,
being
Carl,
on.
love you,
Right.
Carl.
Thank you.
Carl,
We'll
thank
talk
you.
soon.
Thank you very much, man.
I'm,
See you on Mars,
is,
Carl.
well, maybe there'll be room.
Yeah.
There might be
Oh,
room
you
now.
can stay if you
See?
want. If you want to
Stay.
stay, certainly,
Stay.
Carl.
I will say.
Because
We got
Michael had to
20
go.
minutes.
Okay.
Great.
We have another
No,
20
that's
minutes.
It ain't the
Kevin.
kind
I'm
of
sorry.
place to raise a kid, though.
We didn't mean to step on you while you were saying nice things about Dwayne McDuffie. Please.
Hmm?
We
Well,
don't
you know,
mention your-
You were saying about
what Clancy was saying about the fact that he seemed so genuinely amazed at what he was doing and that at what life had brought him. You know what I mean? He was so appreciative, and so that no ego got in the way when you were working with him. He was a truly generous guy. I loved working with him.
That's beautiful,
Just
man.
a gentle
Me too.
spirit. What a
He
gentle
was
spirit,
truly.
And he really
Truly.
understood character. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing. I mean, really, it was a hallmark of his comic work as well, and would just do these great, real like acting moments in these comics where the real like even across the street with his Marvel work, great Fantastic Four stuff between Reed Richards and Dr. Doom, and they had that kind of Luthor Superman kind of adversarial role, and more Silver Age where they really got under each other's skin because they really knew each other on a personal level. So yeah.
I think that's actually part of Dwayne's genius, like his actual like mental genius, like that ability to work on a number of levels at once. He could work on the character level. He could work on, creating milestone. I can create an entire world. But he also got the nerdy stuff. Because I remember we would be in sessions and there would be some deep cut Silver Age reference to some, minor Charlton character that got moved over to DC. And we'd be doing the read through and that would come up and I would look through the glass. I'm like, Dwayne, I know that was you. And he like,
Nice.
Well, we're on the
Isn't
subject of
that
milestone.
amazing about the process that we go through, the people we get to work with? Dwayne is one example, but like Shirley Walker and then the actors Mark Hamill and Maurice LaMarche. I mean, the people that we work with on a daily level, I'm always amazed at the level of talent. It's
like Maria Canalas Barrera. I can't remember. She was really good.
It's overwhelming. You know what I mean?
Well, and Andrea, truly, you really bring those performances out, and we literally saw it in this table read and everything. And I really, the sophistication of acting and the casting that went in and happened, starting with the animated series, but throughout the various DC animated television shows. I mean, that it really went from, and you know best, Andrea, because you were directing initially during that "Hey guys" sort of period. Oh, that's funny. I think she's trying to get in. I think she's frozen there. So I'll remove her there, and I'll bring her back here. There you are, Andrea. I was just saying, I don't know if you heard me, Andrea. Oh, no worries. We were giving it up to you because we were talking about the level of acting that evolved from when you started in animation to really the great acting that we got on all the DC shows and things like the Boondocks as well, for that matter.
Oh, nice. Thank you. The thing is, when I started in animation, which would have been like back in 1979, 1980, I know it's terrifying. I was
groovy, baby, groovy. Come on.
And the style of acting, of animation acting, you guys all know, you remember those cartoons. It was really broad. It was really cartoony. Even Super Friends was absurd. It was so silly. The voices were kind of like this. Everybody sort of sounded like they were auditioning to do promos. I mean, it was really, really weird.
Promo.
And then I thought, when Bruce Timm came to me to do the Batman series first, we talked about wanting it to be a different quality of acting. We weren't so concerned about people being able to come in and do 3 voices. That was lovely if they could do that, but it was more important that they be good actors. And so the very, foundation of the cast was based on good acting. And then from there, we did the occasional voices and stuff. So yes, I take great pride and I compliment all of you on the fact that you made me look good, because you were good actors first, and then you let me, those of you who needed to be taught, teach you how to translate that acting into animation acting, which is different because and those of you who had stage experience transitioned quicker. It was an easier transition because, stage acting requires just a little bit more energy. It's a little bit more boosted reality, but it is still reality. And as we wanted the cartoons to be too, even though there were fantasy elements, we wanted it to sound like it was based in reality. And that's what you all brought to it. And that's why you were cast, because you were strong actors. That really is why.
Well, Andrea is the best at giving direction for punches. That's what I'll say right now. She's great at teaching you how to give and receive punches.
I can do that.
Takes a skill. It's a very good skill you have.
Thank you very much. All the ways I can take credit for it.
It's so interesting because...
oh, sorry, go ahead, Susan.
It's so interesting because as we started this, it's like knowing that Andrea was going to be, directing us for the read. There's just a certain I just can relax. Because she's here.
Thank you for that.
And
that's lovely.
It's just unless you've been directed by her, and unless you know what that is to be in the room with her, you can't appreciate what her presence means to all of us, to all the actors. Yeah. And if every show she worked on, if all the people were here, they would say the exact same thing. She has the reputation she has because she's the best.
Well, no,
it's not just her impact on us.
Right.
It's her impact on animation as a whole. Because, basically, if you think about it, Batman, the animated series, was Streetcar Named Desire. Kevin was Brando.
Yes.
And Andrea was Elisa Kazan. And they
Really,
changed
Kazan?
the
That's
landscape.
fantastic.
I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll
They
take it.
changed the landscape. No, Kevin. What would you do for your sound check, Kevin?
That's right.
Andrea.
It's my favorite. I love it so.
Andrea,
But I you know what, you guys?
that
I
you
fear
had-
that the day of the ensemble record is over. Do you fear that that's
Really?
happened? Well,
Why?
nobody's recording together. Well, because nobody can get into a room together. You can't all get into a recording
Well,
studio.
now
You all
certainly
spit on
COVID.
each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
And I
Maybe.
fear that everybody's going to get comfortable in their home studios, and that it's going to become much more of the norm rather than the ensemble record.
Well, then it'll be
Your own little
rediscovered.
box like this.
Yeah,
Your
once,
little box like
once
this.
it's all over, it'll be rediscovered, and somebody will say, "Wow, I can't believe I invented this." You know,
Yeah.
some young clerk will come in.
But Andrea had about bringing us together and being so aware about how the foundation of good acting is relationship and wanting it to grounded and real. And then if you have wonderful words to say and Andrea's concentration on the relationship. I mean, I think that's why it was so touching, and so many people were not just entertained, but really moved by the show. I get stopped all the time about what a difference, how different it was, how deep, how cinematic, how they just love the show. And I'm just so happy that you picked me, because I get to be part of something that's so special and lasting. It's been just such a wonderful thing. And when we were reading, it felt like we were just right back 20 years ago, right there. And it was
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
I love that. You know
Super
what's really
fun.
cool too, Maria, is your story arc and yours and Phil's story arc together was a major emotional arc in the show, as was Carl's. Remember, Carl did an episode. It was a Christmas episode where he goes back and tries to see his family or something like that. Do you remember? It was a very emotional. But my point is, I love the emotional aspect. It's perfectly fine. I have no problem directing all that stuff. That I can do that. I can tell you to go faster because you're running. I can tell you to do the line again because you're panting. But what I really wanted to get into is what makes this character feel, and how do we get in there? How do we, the audience, get to feel what that character's feeling? Carl, do you remember what I'm talking about? The episode where I think you end up singing a Christmas carol in Martian. Isn't this true, Carl?
Yes, I
Was
do
it
remember.
Comfort and Joy?
Yes.
Yes, that's it. Comfort and Joy. That was the name
Yeah,
of it. And
that's
it was
right.
so emotional and so wonderful. And I remember thinking, I'm going to cry in this recording session. I thought, you know what? If I cry in the recording session, I bet fans will cry when they watch this, and that's good. They should. They should
For
feel
a lot of
so
people, that's
emotional.
White Christmas. For a lot of people, that's
Sure.
White Christmas. They watch it every
Right.
year around the
Right.
holidays.
Yeah.
Right.
Reaching back to the Batman series, Andrea, Michael Ansara, when he played Mr. Freeze
Oh,
in Heart of Ice,
The
and
best.
that's
what a
such an
heartbreaking
emotional
performance.
Yeah,
Truly,
yeah.
Heartbreaking.
truly. And you know, when we first recorded that, and I thought Michael Ansara was excellent casting. I was particularly proud of getting him, for him to say yes. And he came in and recorded with the cast in an ensemble record, and you can feel it from Bruce Timm. It's just not working. The energy coming from behind me, because he would sit behind me, he wasn't liking it. He wasn't liking it. And so I just said to Bruce, let's just keep Michael after the cast, release all the rest of the cast, get all their pickups, and then we'll work with him alone. So he's not embarrassed working in front of a bunch of people who have a lot of experience already. He's kind of new to this. Let's play. And so he stayed, and with a handful of notes, he made the slightest adjustment to make that voice sound not robotic, not flat, not monotone, but cold. And at the same time he made that voice sound cold, he made it sound extremely emotional in that episode that you guys are referring to. So he was the right guy. We just had to give him the right words to get. And I was still learning from Bruce what the series was. So I've still been directing a little too broad, a little too cartoony. And God, we had fabulous people, didn't we? These remarkable
Sub-Zero.
actors.
His performance in Sub-Zero
yes,
was incredible.
Yes. And didn't I think Mask of the Phantasm is just coming out again too as a Batman?
That's right.
Something that's coming out.
Yeah.
I think Netflix has it now or something. But they
Stacey
never die.
Keach.
These shows, you guys, they keep coming around. Suddenly, something that I did forever ago, Avatar: The Last Airbender, I did for Nickelodeon, suddenly came out. It's huge on Netflix.
Yes.
They never die. The work will always come back.
My daughters love Avatar, Andrea.
It was a great series, wasn't it? How old are
They
your
do.
daughters
Oh
now,
my, yeah, my
Maria?
kids love Avatar.
16 and 15. Wait, no. 17, she just turned it, and 15. Isn't that crazy?
I went to their baby showers. I was
pregnant
This is
during the
time
show.
has gone. Right. George said to you, I'll never forget this in a recording session. He kind of quietly went over and said, "Are you pregnant?" And you said, "What the hell?" He said, "I'm the father of multiple children. I can tell." You're pregnant. And you don't get it all yet. Like,
It's your superpower.
It was. It was another superpower.
X-ray vision.
My favorite thing is
better than his echocardiogram or sonograms. Yeah.
One of my best friends when Justice League debuted and it would be on prime time on Cartoon Network. He and I were watching, and I told him, like, the show's amazing. And after about 2 or 3 episodes, my friend's wife walks in, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And he's like, "Listen, I know it's a cartoon, but you don't understand the writing, the acting. This is like the greatest superhero show ever."
Yeah.
And she sat down and she's like, "Oh, okay." You know, and she got it, but it really was terrific. And it's like, truly, that's the thing. I mean, there's a generation of kids that grew up on your guys' work, but truly, as an older viewer and stuff, I mean, I was already an adult, and I mean, yeah, we were watching right along. And in fact, I know that might have been one of the frustrations and why, thankfully, it was able to come back as Justice League Unlimited, because I know it was aimed towards this Y7 audience. But like the best cartoons, you didn't talk down to kids as we were describing the acting and stuff.
They never
I mean,
talked down to kids.
It was a smart show.
Yeah.
It was smart.
It was always multi-layered, you know. And I think the biggest audience was usually college age, wasn't it?
A lot.
I believe it.
A lot. Absolutely.
I totally believe it. Another great actor, Ra's al Ghul, David Warner.
So
Back in
lucky
the
to
day.
have David come and play with
Detective.
us. I just watched. What's the Omen? I had forgotten about him with the plane of glass.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
How many times David Warner has been killed that way on Titanic? We don't even really know how he gets his comeuppance in Titanic, but he's bloody as the ship breaks into 2 parts. But he was so wonderful on this series as Ra's al Ghul. And then we had Olivia Hussey in the last seasons as Talia al Ghul. So, Juliet from Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet played Talia al Ghul, which was just fantastic. But these quality caliber actors that came into play and were often so nervous. I mean, they would come and stand next to Kevin Conroy, and you could see them visibly shaking. And Kevin would just be so generous and kind to them and let them know, "Don't worry, Andrea's going to tell you everything you need to know." And I always committed to everybody who came to work with us, I will never let your voice go out sounding bad. I will make sure that we stay here until we're all happy with what's coming up, because you don't ever want someone to come in and guest and then leave saying, "I hope no one ever sees that episode because my acting was dreadful." So I'm happy to stay a little bit longer to get it. I hired them because I think they can do it. I believe I have a good sense of what they can do. And sometimes it would happen with you guys too, even. There'd be a second role we'd give you and we'd say, "Clancy, can you stay after school? We have to change that voice a little bit more so it's not so close to something else you've done." Or, "Kevin, can you stay? This guy's fine, but we have to make him sound." So, and we would do that all the time. And only once or twice were we never able to get what we needed.
Right.
There were 2 instances I can remember. One was, and I think several of you were on this session. The line was, "You go after those 2 Wilkes," talking to a character named Wilkes. "You go after those 2 Wilkes." It was a police officer saying this. And I believe we had over 50 takes in the initial record and probably 30 takes in ADR. And it almost always came out, "You go after those 2 Wilkes. You go after those 2 Wilkes." I mean, it never, ever.
She couldn't get it,
Right. She couldn't get it, bless her heart. And then the line that actually had to be cut, the whole scene had to be cut because we couldn't make it work, was an actor who had to say, "Yes, yes. Phil, I know you were there." That's all he had to say. "Yes, yes. Frustrated, annoyed, tired, yes." We recorded, I'm not kidding, 70 different yeses and tried splicing them together to get yes, yes. We'd get yes, 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 yes.
So funny.
other reading, but yes. We couldn't get it. We do, and Phil, I looked at Phil and just went, he's beat me. This actor has beat me. I cannot get him to say it right. I think I even had I went around the room and I had all the actors do it. Phil, you go, yes, Phil would do it. Maria, you do it, yes, you would do it. Thinking that maybe if everybody else did it, and then it came to this guy, he would just echo them. Couldn't get it. But those are the only 2 times I remember not getting it.
You did everything. It was basically a master class on directing. She did every conceivable. It's like, here's backstory. Here's echoing.
Yep.
Here's
echo me exactly.
I don't think I was there that day. I wasn't there for that.
It was nasty. It was so nasty. But Phil was there. We told the stories before.
Yeah. Phil, can I get I know people have said it on the chat. Can we get you to do a quick back and forth between young Static Shock and old Static Shock?
Oh, what?
You know what I mean? Can you do the young voice and immediately answer back in the old voice of Static when we saw him in the future and we saw Static as an old man?
I don't know, because actually that was a real challenge, because we had been doing Justice League and we'd been doing Static. We'd already established the voice of Virgil. And of course, we already established the voice of John Stewart. It's like, all right, now it's Virgil at 55. I'm like, okay. What does he sound? Well, he can't sound like this. You know that.
What did we do?
Okay. Well, if this is you when you're 14, well, not everybody gets a deep voice as they get older. Some people just get more mature.
There you go.
Of course, you get through, the age that I am now, where there's just, you're the same person, but there's just a little more texture.
There you go.
That's there. Really nicely done.
Man. That was beautiful, man. Absolutely. Really and Susan and Kevin, my God, the veiled romance of Wonder Woman and Batman that people still make allusions to.
Veiled romance.
Not so veiled. Not so veiled.
Yeah. Well, I like to tease the fans and tease Kevin with the Wonder Bat stuff, because I think it just was such a wonderful dimension to the show. I loved it. Right. I loved the flirty, and he sang for me, and I had his number, and he had my number. I mean, this little piggy I get asked about more than any other show written by the great Paul Dini.
Yeah.
And that was just all those little moments. People have put videos together of all the moments between Wonder Woman and Batman, and then put them to very romantic pieces of music.
Oh, that's great.
It's so fun to watch them, and people love it. And I mean, Kevin and I think our voices really do have a special something, a je ne sais quoi.
Oh,
je ne sais quoi. I would agree.
So did they ship your name Wonder Bat or Bruana?
Huh?
Oh yeah,
Bruana.
Wonder Guana.
Wonder Bat.
I like them both.
Wonder Bat.
No, that's
Wonder
great.
Bat.
And Carl and Clancy, Kevin as well, and Phil certainly with John Stewart, but really that you guys have wonderful. I mean, I wish you guys were born a couple decades earlier, and we could have gotten a few radio dramas out of you, because we get a lot of it through thank God through animation, but really all of
I mean, they're coming back, so
Well, I know Susan was working with the new suspense program that they put together, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I do a lot of radio drama. I love it. I mean, it also lets you play these very broad characters, which is so much fun.
How fun.
And here she comes. It's just the best. I can't get enough of that stuff. I can't get enough of it. I love it.
John, what you said about those voices, I mean, I don't know, Andrea, was that you or was that Bruce? Because there was always a lot of bass in that room. I remember there was one session where there was Kevin and Carl and Clancy, and I think maybe William Smith.
Yeah.
But basically, there was so much bass in the room, I don't think they put the mics. They just put mics on the floor because you were just hearing it through your feet.
I love that. I did like that. You're absolutely right,
Yeah.
Phil. I think it was combined. I think it was both Bruce and I. We both loved that, and we loved the fact that we were able to find guys with that deep, menacing, powerful voice, but who sounded completely different from each other. Carl sounds nothing like Kevin. Clancy sounds nothing like so many other people, and that's what was so cool is that you could have all those guys talking to each other and not go, no, wait, was that whose voice was that? Was that everybody's voice was distinct? Yeah.
Guys, I hate to do this, but we got to wrap up because we got another panel coming up soon.
All right.
We're filling up the room as we are, so we're filled to capacity.
I just want to give a huge thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, John, to Susan for putting this whole thing together. She has been such a ray of sunshine this entire time. Always calm with all of our craziness. She has just been so awesome. And thank you all for being here. John, I'll go ahead and let you say goodbye, everybody. But
no, I appreciate it, Chuck.
Thank you, John.
Guys, seriously,
thank you so much for putting this together.
Very much,
and I hope we have a chance to do individual one-on-ones as I've done with Phil and Susan in the past. It'd be great too. I'm not going to pressure you, but truly, it's an honor being able to speak to all of you. And thank you for really 2 decades of incredible love of what you put on screen and through your acting and everything. It means a lot. I speak for the fans when I say it. So thank you greatly.
Thank
you.
Bye
the DVDs. Thank you.
Bye the DVDs.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Andrea.
Stay
Bye.
George,
who's your hero?
Take
George?
care, everyone. Bye.